America builds the greatest cars on earth. Fact, not fanboy talk, but some of the most legendary names in this country's history got stapled to total embarrassments, built by accountants, not engineers. Today, 11 of those embarrassments. And by number 1, you'll know why one car became the most hated Cadillac ever built. A car that shared its doors with a Chevy, costing thousands less. Number 11, the Mustang that forgot how to be a Mustang. The Ford Mustang is the car that invented an entire category. Pony cars exist because of this thing. It's fast, it's affordable, and for 60 years, it's had one job: put a smile on your face. Then, 1974 happened. The original Mustang II rolled out with no V8 option at all. None. Zero. You want to know what your only choices were? A wheezy 2.3-liter four-cylinder making 88 horsepower, or a 2.8-liter V6 that wasn't much better. Ford built this thing on a Pinto platform during the oil crisis, and they built it to be small and cheap, not fast. Gas lines were wrapping around city blocks. Buyers were terrified of anything with a big engine and a bigger thirst. So Ford panicked, and the Mustang paid the price. Now look, historically speaking, the Mustang II actually saved the nameplate. Sales were strong, some of the best in Mustang history at that point. Ford needed that. We get it. If the Mustang II had flopped, there might not even be a Mustang today for us to talk about. But strategically smart doesn't mean it wasn't slow. A Mustang with an 88 horsepower four-cylinder felt like putting a leash on a wolf and calling it a house pet. It still had the running horse on the grill. It still said Mustang on the fender. It just couldn't back any of it up, and every enthusiast who test drove one in 1974 walked away disappointed. Number 10, the Corvette that lost its bite. The Corvette is America's answer to every European sports car snob who ever doubted us. It's a legend. It's the car that proves you don't need a foreign badge to build something world-class, and for decades it's been humbling cars that cost 3 or 4 times as much. But if you bought one between 1975 and 1980, you got a Corvette in name only. Emissions regulations hit hard in the mid-70s, and Chevy's engineers hadn't figured out how to make power and clean air work together yet. Catalytic converters, air pumps, and detuned camshafts all got bolted on in a rush to meet federal rules, and horsepower took the hit every single time. The result? The base L48 engine dropped all the way down to 165 horsepower. That's less power than a lot of modern four-cylinder sedans make today. In a Corvette, the car that's supposed to make your neighbors jealous when you fire it up in the driveway, these Corvettes still looked incredible. That body never stopped turning heads, and honestly, some people argue this generation still has the best-looking front-end Chevy ever put on the car. But mash the gas pedal, and instead of a roar, you got a polite cough. 0 to 60 times that used to be under 6 seconds were now creeping past 9. Owners joke that these cars are all show and almost no-go, and honestly, they've earned that joke. It's the automotive version of a bodybuilder who skipped leg day for 5 straight years. Quick side note, most car problems come from small things people overlook. I put together a simple longevity guide based on everything I've learned, and it walks you through exactly what to watch for. It's linked in the description below. Number 9, the Challenger with no muscle left. The Dodge Challenger is a muscle car icon. Wide stance, aggressive lines, and when it's got the right engine under the hood, an absolute animal on the street that could run with anything Detroit built in the golden era. But in 1974, if you ordered the base model, you got a Slant 6 engine. A reliable little engine, sure. Dodge's Slant 6 is legendary for durability. Some of these engines ran for hundreds of thousands of miles without a rebuild. But it belongs in a Dart or a Valiant, not stuffed into the body of a car built to look like it's about to eat a Camaro for breakfast. Picture it. You roll up to a stoplight in a Challenger. Wide fender flares, that low, mean stance, a hood that looks like it's hiding something dangerous underneath. Everyone around you assumes you've got a 440 under that hood ready to snap necks. Heads turn. Someone in the next lane revs their engine to challenge you. Then the light turns green and you putter away like you're driving your grandmother to church, wondering why everyone's laughing instead of chasing you down the strip. That's the automotive equivalent of a guy flexing in a tank top with nothing behind it. And by 1974, this was becoming Dodge's reality more often than not. Number 8. The turbo that couldn't. Pontiac's Trans Am is peak American swagger. Screaming chicken hood decal, T-tops, shaker hood scoop, and in the right years, an engine that could genuinely back up all that attitude on the street. 1980 was not one of those years. Federal emission standards had gutted big block V8s across the industry, so Pontiac got creative and slapped a turbocharger onto a 4.9-liter V8, the Turbo 301. On paper, turbocharging sounds like a smart fix, and honestly, it was ahead of its time as an idea. Force more air into a smaller engine, get big power without the emissions penalty of a bigger block. In practice, this engine was a mess. Reliability problems, overheating issues, and a turbo system that Pontiac's engineers hadn't fully sorted out yet all rushed to market before the technology was ready. Owners dealt with blown head gaskets, turbos that just gave up entirely, and dashboards full of warning lights that never seemed to go away. And even when it worked exactly as designed, on its best day, running perfectly, it only made 210 horsepower. In a car wearing a giant Firebird on the hood, promising you the world every time you turn the key. This was Pontiac trying to keep the muscle car dream alive during the worst years for performance in American history. And honestly, we respect the effort. It takes guts to try something this ambitious when the whole industry is playing it safe. But respect doesn't make it fast, and it definitely doesn't make it reliable, and plenty of these cars spent more time at the dealership than they ever did at the drag strip. Number 7. The Regal that should be embarrassed. Here's a wild fact for you. The Buick Regal and the Buick Grand National shared the exact same body, built on the exact same assembly line during the exact same years, rolling out of the same factory in Flint, Michigan. One of them became a legend, a turbocharged all-black street fighter that could outrun a Ferrari in a straight line, a car so quick it embarrassed Corvette owners at stoplights across the country. The other one was just a Regal. A soft, quiet Grandpa spec coupe with a base V6 that would get lapped by its own sibling on the way out of the dealership parking lot. Same silhouette, same doors, same badge on the trunk, completely different world underneath the hood. Imagine being the base Regal. You roll off the same line, wear almost the same sheet metal, get parked next to your sibling in the same showroom, under the same fluorescent lights, and somewhere out there, your turbocharged twin brother is out there, embarrassing Corvettes at stoplights while you're just trying to make it to the pharmacy without breaking a sweat. That's rough. That's a genuinely rough way to exist as a car, forever standing in the shadow of a family member who got all the good genes. Number 6. The Roadrunner that lost its song. The Plymouth Roadrunner is one of the funniest, most beloved muscle cars ever built. Named after a cartoon character with an actual horn that goes beep beep, powered in its best years by a legendary 446 pack or even a 426 Hemi. This was a muscle car with a sense of humor and the muscle to back up the joke, a car that didn't take itself too seriously but could still win at the drag strip. By 1980, the joke was on the buyer. The Roadrunner that year came standard with a slant 6 engine. That's it. The same little 6-cylinder you'd find in a basic family sedan, the kind of engine built for grocery runs, not quarter-mile passes. The horn still went beep beep. The car still wore that cartoon bird on the fender, still had the same playful graphics package. But underneath there was nothing left to laugh about. It's like finding out your favorite comedian just reads other people's jokes off cue cards now, still doing the same act, still getting the same laughs from people who don't know any better. The costume's still there, the performance is gone, and by this point, the Roadrunner name was basically running on nostalgia fumes alone. Number 5. The Camaro that gave up. Second-generation Camaros are gorgeous. Long hood, aggressive fastback roofline, a design so good it's still influencing car styling today, decades later. But 1975 was arguably the darkest year in Camaro history. The base engine was a 250 cubic inch inline-six, making a whopping 105 horsepower, barely enough to merge onto the highway with any confidence. Even if you stepped up to the top-tier 350 V8, emissions equipment strangled it down to just 155 horsepower, a number that would have been embarrassing on a Camaro just 5 years earlier. These cars were heavy, slow, and the computer-controlled carburetors of the era were nightmares to keep running right, constantly stalling, hesitating, or flooding out at the worst possible moments. A Camaro is supposed to be a predator. It's supposed to crouch down low and look like it wants to hunt something. This version was more like a Camaro-shaped speed bump, all bark, no bite, sitting in driveways looking fierce while getting passed by station wagons on the on-ramp. It still had the growl in its styling, the stance, the attitude built right into the sheet metal. It just couldn't cash any of the checks its body was writing every single day it sat in a parking lot. Number 4. The engine that ate itself. Cadillac has always stood for one thing: American luxury at its absolute peak. Presidents rode in Cadillacs. Cadillac was the standard everyone else got measured against, the name parents used when they wanted to describe the best version of anything. Then, in 1981, Cadillac introduced the Eldorado with something called the V8-6-4 engine. The idea was genuinely brilliant on paper. A computer-controlled system that could shut down cylinders when you didn't need full power, saving fuel during light cruising and bringing them back online instantly when you stopped the gas. Sounds like modern cylinder deactivation tech that half the cars on the road use today without anyone thinking twice about it, right? Except this was 1981, computer processing power was primitive, and the technology to actually pull this off smoothly just didn't exist yet. The system stumbled, hesitated, and misfired constantly as it tried to figure out which cylinders to shut off and when. Owners dealt with engines that shuddered and hunted for power like they were having a small seizure at every stoplight, lurching and surging in traffic in a way no luxury buyer ever wants to feel. Cadillac dealers were so overwhelmed with complaints that many just disconnected the system entirely and left owners running on 8 cylinders full-time, defeating the entire purpose of the technology and the tens of millions of dollars Cadillac spent developing it. Cadillac was trying to invent the future. They just did it about 20 years too early, before the computers existed to make it work right, and buyers paid the price for Cadillac's ambition in the meantime. Number 3. The Thunderbird that lost its thunder. The Thunderbird used to be Ford's answer to personal luxury done right. Powerful, stylish, a genuine competitor to anything coming out of Europe, and for a while, one of the most desirable cars in Ford's entire lineup. The 1980 Fox body Thunderbird downsized everything, shrinking the car dramatically in an effort to save weight and fuel. And the base engine that came with it was a 200 cubic inch inline-six, making just 91 horsepower, in a car that weighed over 3,000 pounds. Do that math for a second. That's barely enough power to get out of its own way in a straight line, let alone deliver the kind of driving experience the Thunderbird name was supposed to promise buyers walking into the showroom. Ford eventually fixed this lineup with better engines in later years, and to be fair, the styling on this generation still had some real elegance to it, clean lines and a shape that aged pretty well. But that first base engine? It turned a car named after a legendary bird of thunder and lightning into something that couldn't outrun a stiff breeze, let alone live up to a name borrowed straight from Native American mythology about a creature powerful enough to create storms. Number 2. The Chevelle weighed down by its own bumpers. The Chevelle is a name that belongs in the muscle car hall of fame. SS models with big block V8s that could rip the pavement apart. Cars that helped define what the entire muscle car era was even about. By 1973, new federal bumper regulations forced manufacturers to bolt on massive, heavy safety bumpers front and rear, designed to survive a 5-mile-per-hour impact without damage. The base Chevelle that year came with a 307 cubic inch V8, making just 115 horsepower, hauling around all that extra bumper weight on top of an already heavy platform. This wasn't a performance car anymore. It was a family sedan wearing a muscle car's clothes, weighed down by federally mandated steel that added hundreds of pounds without adding an ounce of fun, turning what used to be a genuine street fighter into something that just wanted to get you to work and back. You could still see the Chevelle DNA in the shape of the body, the same basic silhouette that used to strike fear into the competition. But drive one, and you immediately understood that the muscle car era had one foot in the grave. And this car, more than almost any other, was standing right on top of it, a rolling symbol of an era that was already ending. Number 1, the Cavalier in a tuxedo. And here it is. The car that, more than any other on this list, actually damaged an entire brand's reputation for a generation. The 1982 Cadillac Cimarron. Cadillac was under enormous pressure in the early 80s to build a smaller, more fuel-efficient car to compete with imports like BMW and Mercedes that were stealing younger luxury buyers away in droves. So what did Cadillac do? They took the Chevrolet Cavalier, a compact economy car built on GM's J-body platform, a car designed to be cheap and practical, added a Cadillac grille, some extra chrome trim, a nicer interior, and slapped a Cadillac price tag on it that was thousands of dollars higher than the Chevy sitting right next to it on the same showroom floor. We're talking about a car that shared its doors, its roofline, and most of its mechanical bones with a Chevy that cost thousands of dollars less, right down to the door handles and window switches. Buyers weren't stupid. They saw straight through it immediately. Automotive journalists tore this car apart in reviews, some calling it one of the worst decisions in the company's entire history. It became the poster child for corporate badge engineering gone wrong, a case study that business schools still reference today when they teach students what not to do with a luxury brand. And Cadillac spent years trying to repair the damage this one car did to its reputation. The saddest part? The Cimarron wasn't even a bad Cavalier. As an economy car, it did its job just fine. It just had absolutely no business wearing a Cadillac emblem, and everyone who bought one knew it the second they parked next to an actual Cadillac and realized exactly what they'd paid a premium for. So there you have it. 11 cars that wore some of the most legendary badges in American automotive history and completely failed to live up to them. Remember what we said at the start? America builds some of the greatest cars on Earth. That part's still true. Every single car on this list proves it, because every single one of them exists in the shadow of a genuinely great version wearing the exact same name. That's actually what makes this list so painful. These aren't bad cars because the nameplate was ever weak. They're bad because somebody, somewhere, decided the badge alone was enough to sell a car without doing the work to earn it. And American car buyers, then and now, always figure it out eventually. If this list took you on a journey through some genuinely rough automotive history, you are exactly the kind of car person this channel was built for. We live for this stuff, the legends, the letdowns, and everything in between that makes American car culture the most interesting car culture on the planet. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. We're putting out new videos every single week covering the cars, the history, and the stories that made America what it is on 4 wheels. Hit that notification bell too so you don't miss the next one. And I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me, which one of these hurt the most? Was it the Cimarron betrayal, or did one of these sneak up on you? I read every single comment, and some of the best video ideas on this channel have come straight from you guys. If you know somebody who loves American cars as much as we do, send this video their way. They'll either laugh, get mad, or both, and that's exactly how you know it's a good list. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.